Gender-based violence is a subject on which people hold strong views. Some resent discussion of it at all. And be that as it may, family violence and gender-based violence is a problem which seriously harms many in our beautiful Samoa. It arises from unequal power in a relationship and the exploitation in that relationship of superior power, be it brute force or other modes, to manipulate or assert control over the vulnerable person in the partnership. It's as simple and as ugly as that in its essence. We all know that this thing is not peculiar to Samoa. It is a worsening problem all over the world. Sadly, here in Samoa, there are people who think or pretend that there is no problem, when in fact, many victims of gender-based violence suffer right here in paradise, in silence and out of sight. Some have died violently at the hands of supposedly loved ones. The element of unconcern and nonchalance about gender-based violence that is out there in our community points to a crucial role that the media is well placed to play if there is to be change. You know that in 2018, our office completed a nationwide inquiry into family violence. I would like to take the opportunity to sincerely thank you again for the role the media played before and during the inquiry in emphasizing the seriousness of the exercise and nudging the issue into the national consciousness. It was an invaluable contribution to the success of the inquiry, and we are very grateful. You are continuing still to ensure the public stays informed of the issues raised in the inquiry and of work still to be done. Media journalism is crucial to success in tackling family violence in this country, and it is the view of our office that it is doing a great job. Media journalism, however, like other pursuits, will always be criticized for one thing or another. It is trite to assert that reporting of gender-based violence needs to be done responsibly and sensitively. That makes sense, but what does it mean? As professional journalists, you would know what the appeal for responsibility and sensitivity is all about. For me, it suggests that there is need to take care with regard to the publication of disturbing content and photographs. It means care to ensure that the traits and human weaknesses that surround and underpin gender-based violence are not unintentionally reinforced because of the way they are portrayed. There is criticism when there is matter-of-fact treatment and reporting of gender-based violence, seemingly as just crimes. Well, one might say, get real, GBV is criminal. That is true. It is reality also, however, that the public tend to give crime reports an element of the sensational. People just do that. It is in their nature. The thing is, that kind of interest alone is not the kind of interest that ought to be generated in connection with gender-based violence. The press must, of course, report the news. But would our community not be better served if the reporting of gender-based violence strives to report not just the facts as it must, but in addition to try to inspire in readers a concern for the wider issue of gender-based violence as the social problem that it is? I don't know if it's too much of an ask for our reporters. On the other hand, the influence of the media on attitudes is a resource that is so very valuable to campaigns such as the campaign in this country against family violence. So we would like to use it to the maximum, this very valuable resource. Whatever faults may be leveled at our local media, it certainly cannot be accused of writing only about gender-based violence that tantalizes, and not about the victories and about those who overcome. I think our press gets high marks for editorial commentary on gender-based violence and support for the efforts of survivors who become champions in throwing light on the problem of gender-based violence. A great example is the case of a prominent member of our community who is a survivor, Tuilo Masina, who sits here with us. The Samoa Observer worked closely with her to tell her story. Care was taken to ensure that she was not re-victimized in the telling, while mining from the reporting very positive results in terms of increased public awareness and open airing of the issue, and in providing a platform for the discussion of gender-based violence. The National Inquiry Report does not attempt an exhaustive discussion of issues pertaining to the media and family violence. It does point to two areas of interest. The first is in relation to the reporting of family violence as both an issue and specific events of interest. Two dimensions. In relation to the reporting of family violence, inquiry found that it is a technical and sensitive area of journalism with the potential to cause significant further harm to victims through victim shaming, misreporting, and violations of privacy. Poor judgment in these matters and ethics can have the knock-on effect of dissuading other victims from coming forward because of the treatment they see of others in the press. This indirectly allows perpetrators of those victims to go on avoiding responsibility for their actions. Reporting on family violence is a sensitive matter that requires care and in-depth understanding of how victims should be treated to prevent further harm. The inquiry spoke to a number of media figures, and I acknowledge the honest self-reflection from the journalists who gave evidence to the inquiry, and a general admission that standards among reporters need to be continually raised in order to reach the high standards required to avoid harm. Plus commitment to bring family violence into the public consciousness in a manner that respects the victim and helps to raise awareness of causes and consequences. The inquiry's view, then, is that journalism has already played an important role in bringing family violence into the public domain and continues to be of critical importance. To ensure that their considerable influence is consistently positive, consideration must be given to how professional standards can be continuously raised throughout the media. The second aspect mentioned in the inquiry report has to do with the promotion of attitudinal changes. What impact does the media, in its broad sense, make in this area? Two concerns were aired. One, a worry about the reinforcing of gender stereotypes through films and TV and increasingly advertising. And secondly, a worry about the proliferation of sexual violence on TV and films and increasing access by the young to pornography. Increasingly, the first encounter many young boys have with sex, given the lack of sexual education in schools and a general reluctance to talk about it at homes or in the community. The inquiry heard accounts from people working in the police, the courts, prisons, and media of young boys having watched pornography on a phone, trying out what they had seen on a young, unwilling family member. It is just not possible to do away with pornography altogether. That is a fact. The real problem to be tackled its lack of understanding of healthy relationships and what is right and wrong when it comes to sex. Not having these conversations with the children of Samoa, either at home or in the classroom, leaves unabated the risk of sexual violence among our young. A practical measure to address this is lifting the silence around sex in both environments. The report makes reference to things like popular modern representations of the masculine ideal on t-shirts, t-shirt designs, showing heavily muscled and tattooed men in belligerent poses, in television programs and in advertisements. One person speaking to the inquiry referred to the use of scenarios of violence to promote products. The inquiry did not verify this claim, but it does point to concern about the prospect of the media industry buying into concepts of this type, of this kind of advertising, that reinforce harmful gender stereotypes and innuendos of the sexual entitlement of men, and the perpetration thereby of sexual, physical, and emotional violence. Thank you for listening to me. Have a good workshop.